Hello, everyone. Today we will meet one of the most powerful and fascinating foods in history, chocolate. Can you imagine a time when chocolate was more valuable than gold? When Aztec kings drank 50 cups of chocolate every single day. When people used chocolate beans as money to buy everything from food to slaves. That time really existed. Chocolate was not always the sweet bar you buy in a shop today. It started as a bitter drink for kings and gods. And it became so important that it was worth more than gold. More than 2 billion people eat or drink chocolate every day now. It is in cakes, ice cream, hot drinks, and even medicine. But how did a small bitter bean from the rainforests of Mexico and Central America conquer the entire world? How did it go from a royal secret to something you can find in every supermarket? In this long story, told in very simple English, you will hear the complete history of chocolate. We will travel from ancient jungles where the Maya and Aztec people lived, to the ships of Spanish explorers, to the busy factories of Europe and America. You will learn how kings drank 50 cups a day, how chocolate beans were used as money, how wars and slavery were connected to it, and how clever people invented milk chocolate and the modern bar we love. You will hear early life and rise to power. Our story starts more than 3,000 years ago in the hot, green rainforests of Central America. The first people to discover the magic of chocolate were the ancient Maya. They found a small tree called the cacao tree. The tree grew big pods that looked like footballs. Inside each pod were 30 or 40 bitter beans. The Maya did not eat the beans like candy. They dried them, roasted them, and ground them into a powder. Then they mixed the powder with hot water, chili peppers, vanilla, and spices. They called this drink Zacatl, which means bitter water. It was not sweet at all. It was thick, dark, and a little spicy. The Maya believed the gods had given them this drink. They used it in religious ceremonies. Kings and priests drank it to feel strong and close to the gods. The Maya also discovered something very important. Cacao beans could be used as money. 1 good bean could buy a tomato. 20 beans could buy a rabbit. 100 beans could buy a turkey. 400 beans could buy a slave. Cacao beans were better than gold for everyday shopping because everyone needed them and they did not break like gold coins. This was the beginning of chocolate's power. When the powerful Aztec Empire grew in Mexico around the year 1300, they took the cacao tree and made it even more important. The Aztecs loved chocolate more than the Maya. Their great king, Montezuma II, drank 50 cups of Zacatl every day. He drank it from golden cups. His servants brought him fresh cups all day long. Montezuma believed chocolate gave him strength and wisdom. He said it was the drink of the gods. The Aztecs collected cacao beans as taxes from the people they ruled. They stored millions of beans in huge warehouses. Chocolate became so valuable that sometimes people made fake beans from clay to cheat others. If you're caught making fake beans, you could be punished very badly. This shows how powerful chocolate had become. By the time the Spanish arrived in 1519, chocolate was the king of drinks and the king of money in the Aztec world. Aztec kings and nobles drank it every day. Ordinary people could only drink it on special days. Chocolate had risen from a simple jungle bean to the most valuable thing in the empire. It had real power, more power than gold in daily life. The cacao tree was not easy to grow. It needed exactly the right heat, rain, and shade. But in the perfect rainforest places, it grew well. The Aztecs protected their cacao trees like treasure. They even planted special gardens just for cacao. This early life in the jungle and this rise in the Aztec Empire made chocolate ready for its next big step, the world outside America. The turning point. Everything changed when the Spanish explorer Hernán Cortés arrived in Mexico in 1519. Cortés met King Montezuma. The king gave Cortés many gifts, including cups of the bitter chocolate drink. Cortés tasted it, and at first he did not like the bitter taste. But then he saw how important it was. He saw that the Aztecs used it as money and as a royal drink. He understood that chocolate could make Spain very rich. Cortés and his men conquered the Aztec Empire. They destroyed the great city of Tenochtitlan, but they did not destroy the cacao trees. Instead, they sent cacao beans back to Spain on their ships. At first, the Spanish kept chocolate a secret. They did not want other countries to know about this valuable drink. They added sugar and cinnamon to make it sweeter and more delicious for European tastes. Suddenly, the bitter drink became a sweet luxury. By 1520, chocolate arrived in the Spanish court. King Charles I of Spain loved it. Rich Spanish nobles started drinking it every morning. The Catholic Church also loved it. Some priests said chocolate was good for health and could even help people pray longer because it gave energy. In 1631, a Spanish doctor wrote a book saying chocolate was medicine. The turning point came when other European countries learned the secret. In 1606, the Italians got the recipe. In 1615, the French queen married a Spanish prince and brought chocolate to France. Soon chocolate houses opened in London, Paris, and Vienna. These were special shops where rich people sat and drank hot chocolate. They talked, did business, and showed their wealth. In 1657, the first chocolate house opened in London. People paid a lot of money to drink there. Chocolate became a symbol of luxury, like gold or diamonds. But the real change happened when clever people in Europe started to grow cacao in their own colonies. The Spanish and Portuguese planted cacao trees in South America and the Caribbean. Later, the Dutch and British did the same in Africa and Asia. This was the moment chocolate left its old home and began its journey to conquer the world. From a drink only kings in Mexico could enjoy, it became a drink for rich Europeans. The turning point was complete. Chocolate was no longer a secret of the Aztecs. It was on its way to becoming a global power. The main conflict. But chocolate did not win the world easily. There were many big conflicts and problems along the way. First, there was the problem of growing enough cacao. The trees only grew in hot, wet places. European countries needed huge plantations. They used slaves from Africa to work on these plantations in the Caribbean and South America. Millions of people were forced to work in terrible conditions. This dark part of chocolate's history is sad, but it is important to remember. The demand for chocolate grew so fast that it caused suffering. In Europe, there were fights about who could sell chocolate. Different countries wanted control. The Spanish tried to keep the secret, but the Dutch stole cacao plants in 1725 and started their own plantations in Indonesia. The British planted cacao in Africa. Soon chocolate became cheaper because more countries could produce it. Another big conflict was inside the drink itself. People wanted it sweeter and easier to drink. In 1828, a Dutch man named Coenraad van Houten invented a machine that pressed the fat out of cacao beans. He made cocoa powder. This was a huge turning point inside the conflict. Now chocolate could be mixed easily with milk and sugar. Then in 1875, a Swiss man named Daniel Peter added milk powder and created the first milk chocolate. His friend Henri Nestle helped him. Suddenly chocolate was not just a hot drink. It was a solid bar that people could carry in their pockets. In 1890, another Swiss company, Lindt, made smooth, melting chocolate. In America, a man named Milton Hershey built a huge factory in 1903. He wanted every American to eat chocolate. He made cheap, good quality bars. During World War II, American soldiers carried Hershey's chocolate in their pockets. It gave them quick energy. After the war, soldiers shared it with people in Europe and Asia. This helped chocolate spread even more. There were also fights with other foods. Some doctors said too much chocolate was bad for health. Some religious leaders said it was too luxurious. But the taste was so good that nothing could stop it. Big companies like Cadbury, Nestle, and Mars fought each other to make the best chocolate. They created new types: dark chocolate, white chocolate, filled chocolates, and giant bars. The main conflict was this: how to make chocolate cheap enough for ordinary people while still keeping its luxury feeling. Slavery, wars over colonies, competition between countries and companies. All these things try to slow chocolate down. But every time, chocolate won. It became stronger and reached more people. The fall and legacy. In a modern world, chocolate never really fell. Instead, it became bigger and more loved than ever. Today, more than 4 million tons of cacao beans are grown every year. The biggest producers are Ivory Coast and Ghana in Africa. Switzerland eats the most chocolate per person, more than 8 kilograms every year. People in Germany, the United Kingdom, and the United States also love it very much. New machines and science made chocolate better. In 1980s and 1990s, dark chocolate became popular again because people learned it was healthy. It has antioxidants that are good for the heart. Big companies started making organic and fair trade chocolate, so farmers in Africa and South America could earn more money and work in better conditions. Chocolate is now part of celebrations everywhere. We get on Valentine's Day, Easter, Christmas, and birthdays. It is in movies, songs, and even space. Astronauts take chocolate on their missions. It brings people together. Children and adults smile when they see chocolate. Even though chocolate faced many challenges, the bitter taste at first, slavery on plantations, fights between companies, health worries, and wars, it conquered the world with its sweet magic. It started as money and a drink for Aztec kings who drank 50 cups a day. Now, it is a daily pleasure for billions of people. The legacy of chocolate is huge. It created jobs for millions of farmers, workers, and shop owners. It brought happiness and comfort to people in difficult times. It showed how one small bean from the jungle could change the world. Scientists still study cacao for new medicines. Artists use chocolate in beautiful sculptures. Even though chocolate was once more valuable than gold, its real value today is the joy it brings every day. Its story still lives with us every time we break a bar, drink hot chocolate, or share a box with friends. Thank you for listening to the long and sweet story of chocolate. If you enjoyed this, please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more simple English stories. What is your favorite type of chocolate? Dark, milk, or white? Tell me in the comments. Would you like the next story about another amazing food or drink? See you in the next video.